Hello everyone, welcome to today's news charter. The basic aim of news charter is to give you a basic idea about all the most important topics which were in news today from prelims as well as mains perspective. Before jumping into the topics, let us discuss a small practice question for prelims. See, now it is time that you have to start thinking a lot about prelims and you have to start practicing prelims questions also on a daily basis. You have to get into the mode of prelims slowly. So the concept of CRISPR-Cas was in news regularly in the recent times. So this question is also about the same. Which of the following statements related to CRISPR-Cas technology is or are correct? Three statements are provided. One is sickle cell anemia is the first disease that is being targeted for CRISPR-based therapy in India. Second one, CRISPR is a gene editing technology. And third one, Cas9 is used to break the RNA strand at specific points. We will discuss about the answer for this question by the end of this session. Keep watching it. I will explain you about this topic also in a brief manner in the end. The most important topic, which is which you should be focusing from prelims as well as mains perspective, is about the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner. So recently, a lot of issues were there, a lot of debates were there regarding the election of Chief Election Commissioner or the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner. A lot of a lot of controversies were there related to it because it was or it is still still the government of the day which is going to appoint the Chief Election Commissioner. But recently, the government has brought out a bill called as Chief Election Commissioner and Other Election Commissioners Appointment, Conditions of Service and Terms of Office Bill. So why this bill was introduced? This bill was introduced because the Supreme Court in one of the cases mentioned that it cannot be the discretion of the government of the day to appoint the election commissioner because election commissioner is a neutral party. He should ensure the conduct of election in a proper way. So he cannot be appointed by the government. It should be based on a panel. So according to this bill, what will happen is if this bill gets passed, what will happen is the chief election commissioner and the election commissioners will be appointed by the president. Even now, they are appointed by the president. But the change is the president will appoint them based on the recommendation of a selection committee. Who are all the members of the selection committee? Prime Minister will be there, a union cabinet minister will be there, and then a leader of opposition will be there. So the major change here, which you need to understand is the judiciary wanted the prime minister and then the leader of opposition and then one member from the judiciary here, either the chief justice or someone appointed by the chief justice. But the government has brought in a bill in which that is not there. A prime minister, a union cabinet minister, and a leader of opposition will be there. The chief election commissioner and election commissioners will be appointed by the president himself. So the members who can be considered by this committee will be recommended by a search committee. The head of the search committee will be cabinet secretary. So these points are extremely important from prelims perspective. The salary and conditions of CEC and EC will be equivalent to that of cabinet secretary. From prelims perspective, all these basic details are important. From mains perspective, what is important is the independence of election commissioners, the appointment procedure of election commissioners, what changes we need to adapt in order to make the election commission more radical in nature. So you need to collect points for all these things. Global Partnership for Artificial Intelligence was in news recently. This particular organization should be known, and recently the meeting related to this organization, the annual summit of GPAI, happened in New Delhi. So we need to know about the New Delhi Declaration also. A basic idea about this organization, extremely important from prelims perspective. Tokyo is the first Asian city to submit the to host this summit. So this point is important because This is how UPSC makes confusing questions. They will tell New Delhi is the first Asian city to host the summit, which is wrong. Tokyo is the first Asian city. It was launched in 2020. Initially, 15 members were there. It was an idea of the G7 countries. So, was India a G7 country member? No, it is not. India is the member of G20, not G7. Why this organization was started? To fill the gap between theory and practice on artificial intelligence. So, as you all know, artificial intelligence is machine learning, machines trying to adapt to the necessities and needs and trying to implement its own intelligence, learning and then implementing. That is what artificial intelligence means. So, at present, artificial intelligence is just a theory. It is in a basic initial stage. So very soon it will become very practical. It will be adapted in day-to-day life. So we need to build a gap between them. Whenever the theory starts developing, the machineries and the practical application should also develop. That's why this organization was started. The idea behind this organization is to bring together on a single platform the experts from fields such as science, industry, civil society, government, everyone. So initially, how many members were there? 15 members were there. At present, 25 members are there. So this is also a point with which a very good prelims question can be made. New Delhi Declaration. So at present, the GAPI summit was over. So the countries who came to that summit adapted unanimously a declaration called as New Delhi Declaration of Artificial Intelligence. The New Delhi Declaration of Artificial Intelligence commits all the countries to foster for safe, secure, and trustworthy artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is in the nascent stage at present. So a lot of speculations are there, a lot of threats are there, a lot of people are still worrying about the developments. So we need to foster a environment which will be safe, secure, and trustworthy. Adapt regulations, policies, and standards and other initiatives, all aimed at steering artificial intelligence in a particular direction. The direction is towards public welfare. So all these countries accepted that artificial intelligence should be adapted, but for public welfare. All the measures which will come across the artificial intelligence field should be towards public welfare. And so, if you have to implement them in public welfare, it has to be promoting health, it has to be promoting agriculture and all other areas of concern. And at present, when we talk about artificial intelligence, a lot of misinformation is there, disinformation is there. There are speculations related to unemployment. So all these problems should be taken care of. The country should work towards eliminating all these problems. See, whenever we talk about artificial intelligence, people are worried that it will result in unemployment. Whenever we talk about artificial intelligence, the general public population, the general people always worry that artificial intelligence may result in unemployment. Here, at this point, in this particular context, we should know that if artificial intelligence is going to render a lot of people without employment, it will also create employment. So we need to be aware of it. Just that we need to skill ourselves. Dubai consensus. So at present, the COP, the Conference of Parties 28 is going on in Dubai. So Dubai consensus was adapted. According to Dubai consensus, it was told that countries should work towards reducing their emissions and then adapting more towards renewable energy resources. So before getting into the consensus itself, let us understand what kind of findings were given. Global stocktake was taken. Global stocktake is is a measure to identify how much the countries have worked towards reducing the global climatic, uh, reducing the global temperature rise to 2.2 degrees Celsius or 1.5 degree Celsius. So here it was told that until now, the countries have reduced only 5% of their emissions. Until now, the countries have reduced only 5%, whereas if you need to reduce the temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius, it has to be reduced to 43%. So what the Dubai consensus tells us, according to the Dubai consensus of COP28, greenhouse gas emissions have to be reduced very sharply, which will result in complete elimination of fossil fuels, and only then we will be in a position to reduce our temperature rise to 1.5 degree Celsius. So what are all the basic points? These points are very important, extremely important for prelims. There is a very good chance this year in 2024 you may get a question on Dubai consensus because several measures has been taken. So let us look at all these measures one by one. First thing, the target which was given by the Dubai consensus is tripling the renewable energy and doubling energy efficiency by 2030. Remember the year, remember the target. This particular consensus was very successful in mobilizing $85 billion as a fund for climate action. Three important measures were taken. All these three measures you should remember. First one is Altera. According to Altera, a 30 billion catalytic private finance term is very important, will be developed by UAE. The aim of this Altera is to accumulate $250 billion for climate change. COP28 UAE Declaration on Agriculture, Food and Climate is very important. It was adopted by 158 countries, embedding sustainable agriculture and food system. COP28 UAE Declaration on Climate and Health. So two important declarations, one on agriculture, food and climate, second one climate and health. This one was endorsed by 144 countries, and it wants to accelerate the development of climate resilient, sustainable, equitable health system. During the COVID times, sustainable health systems and its importance became very prominent. So that's why this particular agreement or declaration was adopted. Global Decarbonization Accelerator. This was introduced as an initiative for global renewables and energy efficiency pledge. So all these points are very important. You need to study about it. You need to remember it. For prelims specifically, extremely important. One particular case was in news recently. T. Ganesan versus the state of India and others. So in this particular case, that is T. Ganesan versus the government of India, the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court gave a judgment in which it told that if a person has been trying for citizenship for 40 years in India, and if he has been living in India as a illegal immigrant for such a long time, then the government should provide them citizenship. So why this case is very prominent? Because recently the Citizenship Amendment Act has been in news regularly. So we need to know that in Citizenship Amendment Act, they have not introduced the Sri Lankan Tamil migrants. The reason why they were not included is because India has been supporting voluntary repatriation of refugees to Sri Lanka. That means the people who came and settled here were again invited by the Sri Lankan government back. So the Indian government is trying to make ways for them to go back to their own country. So this is the reason they have not been included. But however, for people who have been living here for 30 to 40 years, who have made their life here, it is important to give them citizenship. Main question of the day: in the context of India's stand in the recent Israel-Palestine conflict, comment if India should follow proactive foreign policy in global conflict. So here you have to know what proactive global policy is. Proactiveness means trying to give its opinion or trying to engage in global conflicts and trying to provide a solution. This is what proactive foreign policy means. So here it is a 15-mark question. So you have to write down first a little, give a basic context of India's stand in Israel-Palestine conflict, and then comment. In comment, you write the advantages and disadvantages of being proactive, and then give a way forward or a conclusion. One important point for prelims, a fact: Recently, the Central Universities Amendment Bill was passed in 2023. According to this, Tamaka Saraka Central Tribal University is going to be established in Telangana. In which state it is going to be established is important. So, in the beginning, we were discussing about this question. So, the answer for this is 1 and 2 only. Because CRISPR-Cas itself is a gene editing technology. Gene editing technology used to prevent or overcome genetic diseases. In this, what they do is they break the DNA strand at specific problematic regions, not the RNA strand. So that's why the statement 3 is wrong. The first statement is a basic fact. In India, sickle cell anemia has been given a go for to be treated with CRISPR-Cas method. So you need to know about it for your prelims examination. Thank you. That will be all for today. Study well. We'll meet tomorrow.